Squid Game, a South Korean TV series that in a matter of weeks has taken the world by storm and become Netflix's most popular show. And since my last Iceberg did great, I thought I'd make another video explaining the Squid Game Iceberg. If you don't know what an iceberg is, it's a video which has information on a topic, but as you go deeper into the video, the information gets more unknown and obscure the deeper you go. If you enjoy, a like and subscription will go a big way for a small YouTuber like me, but you have the entire video to make up your mind. So get something productive to do while listening to this, or just get cozy, because I'm RC, and this is the deepest Squid Game Iceberg explained. In this first layer, there's more well-known information that you might know, so feel free to use the timestamps below to navigate to a deeper section where the information gets more obscure, because once you see the deeper entries in this iceberg, you will never look at Squid Game the same way again. But if you're still with me, the first entry on this is pink and green uniforms. In Squid Game, guards wear a pinkish red uniform and the contestants wear green. Red is used to indicate power and pink is often used to indicate feminine or childish things. And the game is a mix of both power and money and the childish games they must play to get these. Roblox Fish Game. Fish Game is a Roblox game that recreates Squid Game that got millions of plays in just a few days, becoming one of the most popular Roblox games both because of the popularity of Squid Games itself and the number of YouTubers playing it. Season 2. Even though Season 2 is not officially confirmed yet, it is very likely to happen with the cliffhanger ending we saw this season. There are a lot of predictions for it. Some people say that the policeman is alive for a very interesting reason I will explain later in this iceberg. Another prediction was that Gi-han would try to take down the organization behind the Squid Games and that the games would step up a notch and be more complex for the new contestants. These were just a few predictions I found really interesting, but there's much more, so tell me some of your predictions in the comments below. Triangle, circle, and square. This is the order of authority for the masked guards in Squid Game. Guards with the triangle on their armor have the least power, and square guards have the most power and report directly to the front man. Suitcase with money. In the last episode, Gi-han gives Sang-woo's mother a suitcase of money. This may be as a sort of compensation for the money he owed her over the years, but it also gave her a way to sufficiently take care of Player 67's brother, a promise he made to her just before she was killed. Abstract art. In episode 7, you can see a lot of abstract art in the background of where the VIPs were staying, and also in the private room where the policeman was taken to. There were a lot of complex patterns in the form of both body paint and wall art. Player 101's tattoos. In Squid Game, Player 101 or Jang Duk-soo has a tattoo of a snake on his neck. This is probably because thugs stereotypically have changed their tattoos, and the snake gave a hint to his vicious intent throughout the games. What happened to Ali's fingers? If you watch Squid Game carefully, you may have noticed that Ali Abdul or Player 199 has missing fingers, and you may have wondered why. Probably the reason for this was because he had an accident with the machinery where he previously worked, but he didn't have the money to pay for surgery, which is proven when he confronts his boss asking for the wages that he never received. Gi-han is watched by Squid Game organizers. In the last episode, the Squid Game organizers found out exactly where Gi-han was staying and managed to send him a card, and later told him not to get on the plane in the last scene, proving that the organizers were still watching Gi-han's every move secretly. Not all games are fair. Despite the frontman stating that everyone had an equal chance, this was not the case. If it was the last episode, you would realize that the old man always had an advantage. For example, in Tug of War, he was given the best strategy beforehand to help his team win. But even if they managed to lose, you can see that the game's organizers had not locked his handcuffs to the rope, so he could just get rid of the handcuffs because it wasn't locked and escape falling to his death. In lower layers, I'll show you many more examples of how Player 1 had an added advantage, but we can also see that not everyone had an equal chance for the second game either. Because if you chose Umbrella, for example, you were less likely to survive than someone who got Star. Ali's family. Everyone had a reason to participate in Squid Game because no one really did it for fun. And for Ali Abdul, it was to support his family and his mother, who we get a glimpse of in one of the episodes. But because Ali died in episode 6, it's very likely that his family would have either died too or would have been in a very bad economic situation. Sang-woo's manipulation. Throughout Squid Game, Sang-woo is shown to be a manipulative character. He tricked his own family into believing that he was rich and had a great job, when in reality he probably never even went to SNU. He even made Gihan choose Umbrella in episode 2, and then he betrayed Ali. Man, that scene got me crying like someone was cutting onions. Duke-Soo is a psychopath. Duke-Soo, or Player 101, is labeled as a violent psychopath because he's so lame in the games is to do whatever is needed to win, even at the cost of other people's lives. I mean, this guy really beat up a dude and even killed him just for some milk. In real life though, he's actually a really chill guy, and on Instagram he posts pictures of his cats and even thanked us for making him a millionaire. Games drawn on the wall. In Squid Game, not all the games were really hard, but what made them much more difficult was the level of unpredictability of these games. You see, there was no way of finding what game was next. But what if I told you that there was a way? If you look closely at the walls in the sleeping quarters, you can see drawings of each game even though the order is not given. Upon first viewing, it is likely that you didn't spot this until more and more beds were removed, but they existed the whole time. And if the participants managed to spot this, they could have gotten one step closer to earning 45.6 billion won. Bad English dubbers. One of the very few cons of the amazing Squid Game viewing experience was the English dubbing. The English voice actors just couldn't really match the tone and emotion that the original actors conveyed in Korean, and all the characters sounded 20 years younger than they actually were. You can't really blame the voice actors that much though, because reaching the high standard that the Korean actors had set for the acting wouldn't be easy for anyone. Battle Royale. Out of all the manga and film that Squid Game was inspired by, the influence of Battle Royale is probably the most prominent. Battle Royale is a 2000 film based off a manga where middle schoolers are taken to an island in a fight to the death. The director of Squid Game said he was inspired by this, and you can definitely see a lot of similarities throughout the first season. Red light, green light doll replica. The red light, green light doll from the first episode can be seen in real life. Now there's a few of these that you can find around the world. There's one in Seoul, missing a hand according to a popular photo, and there's another one in the Philippines. That's pretty similar to the one in the first episode, except I don't think it'll kill you. Squid Game vs Alice in Borderland. Another show that's very similar to Squid Game is the 2020 Japanese show Alice in Borderland. In both shows, the contestants have to win games to continue living, but Alice in Borderland has no cash prize in the end. There's also an ongoing debate about which one of these two shows is better, but I haven't watched Alice in Borderland. If you guys have, tell me which one you guys think is the better show in the comments below. Player 240's backstory. Despite just being in a few episodes, Player 240 was one of my favorite characters in Squid Game, and her backstory just adds to the beauty of episode 6. Before playing the marble game, she confesses to Player 67 that her father had killed her mother and that she had killed her father because of it, which caused her to be imprisoned. The reason she essentially sacrificed herself was because she had no family and no reason to get out of Squid Game, unlike Player 67. Gihan's red hair. Even with all of the epic plot twists and revelations in the last episode, one of the biggest questions viewers had was why did Gihan dye his hair red? Was it just to hide his white hairs? Was he a Playboy Carti fan? Well, according to the director, it was just another use of symbolism. Apparently, the red hair was used to show his rage toward the games, which was the reason why he didn't board the plane. Squid Game idea rejected. The director of Squid Games came up with the idea for Squid Game 10 years ago, but the reason it took so long to come to life was because a ton of local film studios rejected it for being too unrealistic. Now, looking at the unbelievable growth of this show, I know there's somewhere punching the air right now. Squid Game phone number raided. To join Squid Game, Gihan is given a card by the business dude which contains a phone number. But this number is actually a real working number, and so many fans call this actual working number that Netflix had to edit the number out of that scene.
Hello, how are you? I am under the water. Please help me. Here too much raining.
Foreshadowing of deaths. In Squid Game, the directors hinted at every major player's death way before it even occurred. Back in the first episode when Gihan gave his daughter a present that looked like a smaller version of the coffin boxes. Inside was a gun lighter which foreshadowed the death by getting shot, put in the box, and burned. The snake tattoo man killed some people and jumped off a bridge, which foreshadowed his death when he died by jumping off a bridge. Player 67 threatened to stab someone's throat with a knife, foreshadowing how she got stabbed in the throat with a knife by the SNU dude. Abdul Ali took something valuable from someone and ran away, and his death was caused by someone else taking something valuable from him and running away. The guy who went to SNU had his death hinted in an earlier scene where he is drenched and attempting to end his life, which foreshadows what happens in the end when he is drenched in the rain and takes his life. The attention to detail is just unbelievable, even to details that most of us won't even notice. But tell me if you noticed all these foreshadowing in the comments below. Player 1 knew all the games beforehand. We've already talked about how Player 1 had an unfair advantage, and one of the many examples was that he knew a lot about every game, such as his expertise in tug of war. In hindsight, you realize that there was a reason he declined Gihan's offer to switch to Umbrella, because he knew that that was the hardest shape to cut out. Inaccuracy of red light green light doll. In the first game, unsuspecting viewers would find it very wholesome to see the old man smiling and running towards the door while everyone else is running away from it in fear, guessing that it's probably due to his dementia that he's smiling the whole time. But the truth was that the red light green light doll was programmed not to shoot within a certain perimeter of player 001, which is why some people close to him didn't get shot even though they moved. Player 1 wasting time on purpose. One of the reasons that episode 6 was so heartbreaking was because player 1 died, or so we thought. But later you realize he wasn't just rambling random stuff and showing his house to Gihan simply because of his mental condition, but because he wanted to delay his death so no one could see him being killed and he could secretly escape with the help of his guards. Actual island location. The actual location of the island that the Squid Games were filmed in was an island northwest of South Korea called Ongbong-ri, Gihan's mother. In the final episodes, Gihan's mother died, and just like all the other deaths, it was foreshadowed. This possibly occurred because Gihan swore his mother's life to player 67, and by not keeping the promise, his mother passed away. The policeman is alive. Out of all the crazy theories I saw on the internet while researching for this is one that I found most plausible and one of the most interesting as well. One of the predictions for season 2 is that the policeman is still alive, and this was because he was shot in the shoulder by his brother. Perhaps on purpose because he is his brother after all, and his brother probably just wanted to do his job as frontman even though he did love his brother. And like the frontman proved, because a shot in the shoulder isn't often fatal, there is a chance that the policeman could use the skills he learned in training to survive. That is the Squid Game Iceberg explained. I really hope you guys enjoyed this because I put a ton of effort into making this, and hopefully you found something new about this amazing show. I also want to give a huge shout out to the Marcy Show who helped out with this, so go check out his channel as well. Go ahead and like this video, subscribe and share it with a friend who you think will enjoy it too. And to prove that you made it this far, tell me which entry surprised you the most. Anyway, on to the next one. Stay safe. See you guys.